I want to talk about something that I am finding to be quite disturbing. And what this thing is this whole celibacy trend. Celibacy has now become a trend in this whole modern day dating world. Now, I understand the reason why people go on the whole celibacy journey, especially when it relates to women. I myself had went on this celibacy journey. Um, and my reasons for going on a celibacy journey was more geared towards spiritual reasons, personal growth, inner growth, becoming more aware of who I was and to become conscious of why I tend to um, draw the wrong type of men to me. Okay. Um, so my journey was based on self growth, development, and awareness, spiritual awareness. Um, Now, this is not to say that the reason why people are going on this journey is not that, but for the most part, the reason why a lot of people are going on this whole celibacy journey is to run from their traumas. Um, they choose, to abstain from, having sex and being in relationships because they've had quite a few bad apples. Um, and when it comes to women, I totally get it because nowadays, a lot of these men out here, they are very manipulative, they're male chauvinistic. They don't value women. They don't appreciate women. And they tend to take advantage of women. Okay. And women have gotten tired. We as women, we have gotten tired of being put on the bottom of the totem pole. Okay. So we decided to take away the very thing that men value. And you can disagree with me all you want to, but it's sex. Men value sex more than they value anything. Well, sex and money, I'm going to say. And to get on the topic of men solely, now I'm seeing this trend where men are going celibate. Some are even claiming to be going on this financial journey of celibacy, whereas they don't spend money on women when it comes to dating, but yet they expect a woman to give up their precious asset, which is between their legs. And I don't care what the society has taught you men. We as women, what we hold between our legs, it is very powerful. If it wasn't so, then you would have no need to try to manipulate uh, or control the narrative of a woman and how she give you access to her. There would be no need for that. You see what I'm saying? You would just come basically direct and straightforward. But no, a lot of men feel like they have to play games in order to get what they say the cookie. They try to appeal to a woman's better nature to help her to hopefully let her guard down so that they can gain access to ultimately have sex. So my thing is, why are men deciding to go on the celibacy journey? Now, for some men, I do understand that they have, like women, they have run into some, toxic females, and therefore, you know, no, no, I can't, I can't even say that. That really, for me, it doesn't make sense for a man to go on a celibacy journey unless It is for the sole purpose of spiritual enlightenment and development. That's the only reason why I can see a man going on a celibacy journey. But I feel like the reason why men are going on the celibacy journey is because a lot of women, they're pulling back. And so because women are pulling back, men want to counteract with pulling back themselves. It's like this big tug of war. And my thing is, what the hell are you proving with this whole mindset or this whole decision to go celibacy when you're going into it with a fucked up idea or mindset? Because a lot of people are going on the celibacy journey based on trauma. You see what I'm saying? Now, if your focus was more so on you, yourself, trying to really get to know who you are as a person and connect more with your spiritual nature, then yes, by all means do so. But see, a lot of people, they go on this celibacy journey and they have this kind of bitterness towards the opposite sex still. You might as well not even go on this whole celibacy journey if you're going to go, or if you're going to be in the energy of being bitter, or having hatred towards the opposite sex. That defeats the whole purpose. It defeats the purpose. So I'm just finding this to be quite interesting, but not in a good way, as to this whole celibacy trend, wanting to abstain from sex and connection. Now, for a period of time, like I said, for spiritual purposes, and to become self-aware of who you are and why you came to be, yes. But a lot of people, again, they're doing this based on trauma. And then what they're doing also is they're filling their lives up with stuff, their time with stuff, overworking and trying to overachieve certain goals in life to say that you've made a certain status, because you're compensating for loneliness. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's be authentic for once. It's like you're using celibacy as a means for a cop-out, for actually doing the inner work. So you stay away from connections, you abstain from sex, and say, well, I'm focusing on my goals, creating businesses and, this, that, and the third. Mind you, now there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. But when your main focus is on material things, you lost the whole spiritual component of it all. You lost it. Because with spirituality, enlightenment, and becoming self-aware, it does not encompass material things. The whole purpose of becoming spiritually enlightened is to learn how to detach from these worldly things in order to tap into your spiritual nature. Because the spirit and the world, spiritual things and worldly things can't coexist. The Bible tells you this. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but even the Bible tells you this. It's somewhere in Matthew's. I can't remember. But so yeah, it's like I question a lot of these people's purposes of going on this whole celibacy journey. Because again, nobody wants to do the inner work. Because doing the inner work, it requires you to be in isolation. It requires you looking at the ugly side of yourself versus blaming other people outside of you. When people are on the celibacy journey, they tend to blame the opposite sex. Because men are this, because women are that. Well, what about you? What about the energy that you are projecting out in order to draw these type of people to you? It all starts with you, first and foremost. But nobody's looking at that. But if they are, it's far few in between. Now, this is not me judging, but this is just me bringing some type of awareness to this whole celibacy trend. It's pretty much now a freaking community. It's a community now. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with abstaining, from relationships and sex. That's a great thing when it's done in the right spirit. You see what I'm saying? Because what people don't realize is when you go a long time without having sex, it has an effect on your spiritual and psychological functioning. Okay. Your body, for women, it's like your vaginal walls get thin. You lose lubrication down there and you lose your libido. This is for men and women. So when you do have sex, it makes it more painful. And you're more easily to get bruised down below when you finally do have sex. But if you're going to do this whole celibacy thing, make sure you're doing it in the right spirit. It's to become more consciously aware of who you are as a person and to learn how to integrate your shadow side with your light side. You see what I'm saying? That's the goal in all of this. And when you do this, it's like you will be able to raise your frequency in such a way that without even getting involved with a person, male or female, your spirit is going to detect whether or not this person is for you energetically. You see what I'm saying? But you have to do the inner work. It's not you going on this journey to try to get your money in order and this, that, and the third. Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, you have a lot of successful people with fucked up attitudes and broken hearts, male and female. So what are you doing? What are you doing? So I just wanted to come on real briefly and kind of put my whole 2 cents in this whole thing when it comes to the celibacy. Now I know with women, we have to definitely be cautious when it comes to, and I know there's a lot of STDs going on out here, and you have to be cautious in that area. But you can't live in fear. I'm not saying live in ignorance, but you can't live in fear either. You just have to learn how to take the necessary steps in order to guard yourself when it comes to STDs. Okay. Like I said, with women, we definitely have to be careful because, and it's not to say that it doesn't affect men, but it really affects us as women because we are the receivers. Okay. Men are the givers. We are the receivers. So whenever a man penetrates a woman, like I said in the previous video, every type of energy that this man is housing within his body, his spirit, that woman is absorbing it. Any type of trauma that this man has dealt with in his past, has not, healed from, she's absorbing it, all of it, with every single thrust, every single connection. And now you're creating these spiritual soul ties, which would then affect you psychologically. And then you wondering, why the hell am I acting this way? Because you picked up spiritually and energetically whatever that man had through engaging with him sexually. So we have, and it can go, both ways, but more so is more for the women. But not to say that men aren't affected by this either, because there are some toxic women out here, that especially, well, I can't go that far. I got to do a little bit more research on that, but it can affect men as well. But like I said, it mostly affects women. So yeah, I get it on that level. Absolutely. But like I said, if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it in the right spirit. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but make sure you're doing it in the right spirit. I commend those of you out there who are going on the celibacy journey, if you're going on it with the right spirit. Just make sure you're not walking around bitter and angry. you know, and mad at the whole goddamn world because of how you was treated by the opposite sex, because you fail to do your homework, or because you have a bad judgment and character when it comes to people, choosing people. You see what I'm saying? No, focus on you, nobody else. That's the whole purpose. Like I said, I've been down this journey. I've been there. I've done that. You know, and then there's a lot of people, they saying, well, they're holding off, you know, to get married. Baby, that whole marriage thing, it's a trap. It is a trap. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to get off into it on this video. Maybe in another video I will, but yeah. No, that is a trap. And it can fall on both sides, male and female. But anywho, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And hopefully what I said kind of help someone out there who's on this celibacy journey to kind of go more towards the right versus the left. You know, making sure that you are doing it in the right spirit so that you can really reap the benefits, the true benefits of being celibate. Okay. And not just perpetrating or just to wear a badge of, as if it's a badge of honor, because a lot of people are walking around saying I'm celibacy like they're celibate like it's a badge of honor. It's not a freaking badge of honor, nor does being celibate make you pure. Please understand, celibacy does not make you pure. What makes you pure is what the condition of your heart. It has nothing to do with your sexual organs. Please understand that. Okay? So again, hopefully this helps someone out there. And I would say keep all the negative comments to yourself. What I'm saying is not going to apply to everybody. Because everybody is not on the same journey. Okay? But the end goal should be the same for everybody. The path in which you take will be different, but the end goal should be the same if you have an understanding of that. All right, so until the next video, guys, peace.